I keep my friends close, but my brother-in-law closer. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review season 4, episode 2 of The Real Housewives Sleeping with Their Brother-in-Law of Salt Lake City. So we start the episode off between Meredith and Lisa going out for a walk after Meredith had told Lisa last week that she wants to fix things between them privately. So they show up to this park together and Lisa's dressed to go for an actual walk at a park. Unlike Meredith, she shows up ready to go for a walk in Fashion Week on a runway with her Hillary Clinton high-heeled boots on, her neon blue pants, and this blue fur coat. She looks good though, so maybe she needs to look good to forgive Lisa. So both of them start walking around together and it was actually really nice to see them getting along for once, especially after the last 2 seasons. But it also reminds me of when an ex wants to come back into your life after you've gone through the healing journey from that breakup and they want to screw all of that up by calling you and saying, hey, it's almost the holidays. It's almost Christmas time. Are you still single? Let's get back together. I miss you. You're looking at them like, please leave me alone. We're not meant to be together. We've already tried this 10 times. Leave me alone. Okay, when do you want to meet up? Same situation, but I'm hopeful between Lisa and Meredith that they could get back on the right track. So they're walking around, they're talking about their children, they're talking about their graduation. Lisa starts talking about Jack and his mission with Boots, his backpack, and Swiper the Fox. And apparently now, this mission is not gonna be in Salt Lake City. It's, I guess it could be anywhere in the world. They could send you anywhere. It almost kind of sounded like the Hunger Games, like, Jack, you're gonna go to District 12. May the odds ever be in your favor. If I had to choose where to be sent for my mission, I'll probably choose Miami because at least that way during the day I could preach about the church and then I could sit at night on South Beach and shake a little ass with a cocktail in my hand. But Lisa, surprisingly, she starts apologizing to Meredith and she's like, you know what, Meredith, I'm just so sorry about, that whole hot mic moment and saying that you slept with half of New York. Like, I just did not mean that. I was just so enraged and I was so pissed off and I was so upset. And I just don't mean any of that. So I'm truly, truly sorry. I wish I could take all of that back. But I said what I said and it is what it is. And I mean, even though she's apologizing, Lisa, there's just no way that everything in that hot mic moment just didn't all just come out all at once. And you didn't feel that about Meredith deep down inside. Like, all of that just doesn't come out in seconds, but it did. And the only reason why Meredith is even going to entertain this apology is because both of you are on the show and you have to keep it moving. You can't hold the grudge for too long. But realistically, I don't know. If somebody accused me of sleeping with half of New York, maybe half of New Jersey, okay, we could move on. Or Virginia, but New York, that's a little bit too much. But Meredith, she also throws out her apology because Meredith is not, squeaky clean in this situation either. She's like, well, you know what, Lisa Barlow, I thank you for that apology, and I do apologize myself for talking about those rumors about you and your husband, John Barlow. Hopefully we could keep it moving. And, this could be a fresh start for us, Lisa. I want us to engage this entire season between each other. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually they hug and that's that. Again, I love to see it. Hopefully they stay on the same path together, but I don't know. It's a little wishy-washy every now and then between them, but I'm hopeful. Then we see Heather and Whitney meeting up in a hot tub, which I don't understand their fascination with hot tubs on the show. Every other season, we could meet up and talk in a grocery store. Let's go shopping for vegetables. Let's go build a snowman. Let's do something different. But they're talking about Angie. Whitney's asking Heather, Heather, you weren't so nice to Angie K. She's my new bestie and she's holding a snowflake as well this season and you're not treating her nicely. Did you know that she was going to show up to your event last week? Heather was just like, F Angie K. I think I might be Team Heather simply because of that reason. And come to find out that her and Angie K actually go all the way back to high school. They know each other since then. And could you imagine graduating high school thinking that you never have to see any of your classmates again? And then you start a whole new life. You end up on this show 3-4 seasons down. Then Angie K pops up. I'll be pissed off too. Like, you couldn't give me any other classmate from my high school. You had to pick her? Okay, but Heather does not see it for her. She's telling Whitney, yeah, at my event, I never invited Angie. She actually came because she was Lisa's extra. She was her +1. I never invited her to anything. And speaking of Lisa, they started talking about her son, Jack, and his mission. And this is where the conversation is a little borderline. Like, Heather, just like your book cover, shh. because you're doing a little bit too much talking about Lisa's son, even though I kind of agree with everything that she was saying, because she feels that Lisa does not represent what Mormonism is. She has a whole Vida Tequila line, but I'm pretty sure that Lisa told us on season 1 that she knows that the Mormons look at her funny because of her Vida Tequila line. It's just she doesn't care. Heather also starts talking about her experience with her mission and how she had to do something called a DDOT or EGOT, something like that. And it means that you can't talk about what goes on, the practices inside Mormonism outside of it, or else the penalty might be death. And, people still willingly choose to sign up for this. Like, all right, but she feels that Jack, once he comes back from his mission, he's going to be a whole different person. Once the cult really gets to his head, once the mission gets to his head, he's going to be a whole different person. And Lisa is not ready for that because Lisa is everything opposite of what you represent in a mission. So I don't know. And again, like I said, it's very sticky territory because even though I agree with her, you're also talking about her son. And once Lisa sees this footage or finds out about what you said, she might not be too happy about it. We head over to Meredith's Airbnb and she's there with her husband, Zeph, who we see for the first time this season. He pops in to give her a tequila shot and she gives us a rundown on their marriage and what it's been like being married to each other. She's like, well, you know what? Between me and Zeph, we have gone through a lot of things in our marriage, like any other married couple. But I feel like now we have reached a point in our marriage where we're very loving and caring towards each other. And because of that, now they have a podcast together, talking about their marriage, their issues, and everything in between. And I'm like, okay, I guess those are valid reasons to start a podcast, right? And she named the podcast Hanging On by a Thread, which I'm not sure whose idea that was, because if you're talking about your marriage, you're basically implying that your marriage is hanging on by a thread. So what are you trying to tell us, Meredith? On top of that, she missed out on the opportunity on naming her podcast Engaging Conversation, or Let's Engage a Little. And it could have been a visual thing between her and Zeph. They both could have recorded this whole entire podcast inside a hot tub together because that's what they're known for on the show. They could have done that. They could have answered all these questions from the fans and then upload the video version to YouTube. Like, it was right there, Meredith. Like, you had it so simple, but maybe next time. So she starts telling Zeph that she knows somebody by the name of Trixie Mattel. And Trixie is a former contestant and winner of RuPaul's Drag Race, a different show, which, by the way, I'm still not over her winning All Stars 3. And honestly, I just don't get the hype around Trixie either. I get it that she's this grand superstar, but I just could never get into the hype. No matter how hard I tried, I just could never get into it. But I do love seeing her on the show and seeing her promote her, her hotel, the Trixie Mattel Hotel, and seeing the crossover. I think it's cool. She has this hotel in Palm Springs, California, which I actually wanted to go to at one point. I knew about the hotel prior to this episode. It's very beautiful and very colorful, but I think it's a little bit too pricey, so maybe sometime in the future. Hey, Trixie, disregard everything I said 10 seconds ago. But she invited Meredith and everybody on the show to go. And I just think it's so cool. I'm like, wow, we really have a crossover. I believe the only housewives from the Housewives universe that we've seen as a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race has been Lisa Rinna. From this cast specifically, I would like to see Lisa Barlow be a judge, Whitney, or Meredith. I would like to see that in the future. We then see Angie K at her house. We see Angie K at her house, and I will say that her house is huge. It looks really nice from the outside, but from the inside, though, it's extremely way too white. The ceilings are white, the floors are white, the walls are white, her and her husband are white. Like, it's just way too white. She has 2 dogs, and one of them is white. I believe it's a poodle, but it has like this neon pink tail with pink ears. I thought that was interesting. And her husband, his name is Sean, and they also have a daughter. I believe she's 12. Her and Sean, they met because they were both doing hair at some point, and now they own 10 salons, which I thought that's impressive. Again, I'll give her points because she does bring money and wealth to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And as for her husband, there's something's going on. Like, he just looks way too nervous for me. I get it. This might be his first official season as a husband on the show, I believe. But I don't know, he looks very nervous and it just seems like he's about to throw up any second. And she's telling him about her situation with Heather and how, well, you know, me and Heather, we're trying to get back to a better place. And me and her used to be friends in high school. And, you know, somehow she and I are no longer friends. But I want her to know that I'm still fun and I want us to get to a better place. And I'm like, okay, Angie, thank you for that. We then head over to Monica's house to get more of a backstory of who she is. She has 4 daughters, and her mom is with her, who, by the way, her mom looks good. And she lives down the street from her grandmother's house. Originally, though, she lived in Boston, but they moved out to Utah, where her mom converted to some church, which caused Monica to convert to Mormonism. But she struggled with it, she says. And she also says that she's half Portuguese and half Colombiana. You know, shout out to Colombia. And she also has her baby business. I forgot the name of it, but, you know, from the looks of it, she sells rags. Like, she's just folding up these, you know, her laundry, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm selling this. And I'm like, that's a business? I mean, if that's the case, you know, wait, hold on. If that's the case, I have a business, too. Anybody want to buy this? You know, $50. But you know what? Get your money, Monica, because then she tells her mom, you know, I was invited to this trip, and she starts getting emotional, and she's like, you know, I went to the Louis Vuitton store recently to get a purse, and, you know, and she starts crying, and I'm looking at her like, okay, yeah, you went to the Louis Vuitton and you got a purse. What's the problem? Like, Monica, there's people dying. Like, what's the problem? But it's because she doesn't want to put up the illusion to the cast that she has money when in reality, she doesn't. And I mean, I like that she's being honest about that, I guess. But at the same time, we're kind of like losing the premise of the Real Housewives, because I thought it was to show the lavish lifestyles, not to see broke ass bitches. No offense, Monica, but I just don't understand that. I'm like, oh, okay. But I guess because of her scandalous life and her connection to Jen, maybe that's why they're okay. Like, you know what? It's fine if you don't have money. Come on to the show anyway. But at least she's honest about it. And she's not trying to put up this illusion that she has it like that. And then 2 seasons later, we see that she's broke. She's filing for divorce from her husband, Croy. Ooh, wait a minute. That's Kim Zolciak's life. But then she also lets us know that her husband, the reason why she was so financially okay before, was because her husband provided all this money and this lifestyle, but now she has to provide for herself, right? But then she drops a bomb on her mom by telling her, Mom, I need you to babysit my daughters while I'm gone on this trip. But the mom was not playing around. She tells Monica, I could give you 2 hours at most of my time, because now that we're getting Bravo checks, I'm going to the nightclub tonight. On top of that, Monica also tells us that she has no relationship with her father. The last time that she saw him, he got into a fight with the mom. On top of that, she kind of just says, oh yeah, by the way, he's gay. He went off to Florida to live with his boyfriend, and that's that. Next scene, I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, Bravo and Monica needs to stop doing that, where she just drops something on us like this, and then we kind of just go to the next thing. Like, no, wait a minute. I want to know more about her father. What happened with that? How did the mom take that? Like, what's everybody's reaction? Like, where is he? I mean, obviously, she doesn't know where he's at, but, you know, is he single now? You know, I'm asking for me. Next, we have a date night between Whitney and her husband, Justin, and Angie K and her husband, Sean. They show up to this restaurant, they're sitting down, and Whitney already right away with the trauma dumping, telling them, well, you know what, over the last couple of years, you know, I've been healing from my trauma and my childhood, and my husband, Justin, him right here, hi, baby, he got fired from his job. I would have been looking at her like, we just got here. And if I was Justin, I'd be so offended and ashamed. Like, damn, like, we just got here and you're already telling them my business. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it on TV, but you're telling them that I lost my job. Like, can we get some bread first? And then I believe Sean, he speaks up. He's like, oh yeah, I understand what both of you are going through, you know, especially as spouses, you know, in a marriage. Sometimes you could wake up and you could look at your spouse like, I don't really know who you are anymore. And I'm like, all right, that wasn't the direction that Whitney was going in, but you know, I guess. And everybody's looking at him like, yes, is there something that you need to tell us? And Angie K starts hinting at that her and Sean are not really intimate like that. We see it in the flashback, which, by the way, first of all, did anybody see the size of that huge ass bed that they were laying in the flashback? I mean, it was huge. So ridiculous. We see him laying on the west wing of the bed. And she's laying on the other side of the bed, like 2 miles down. And then in the middle, we have the dog, the poodle with the pink ears, and the 11-year-old daughter. She's in between both of them. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I guess that's a daily thing every single night. And again, I guess there's no intimacy between them. And I'm not sure for how long that's been going. That's what I'm thinking. You know what, Angie K? Maybe we do need you on this show because, whatever's going on between you and your husband, that's eventually going to come out on this show. The show is going to force that to come out. Whitney's looking at them, and in the confessional, she's like, I don't want to imagine them having sex or where they have sex or what time they have sex. And I'm like, yeah, Whitney, I don't think that's really happening. But again, I feel like there's something there. But eventually Whitney starts talking about the event that Meredith is having in Palm Springs, and she invited everybody except Angie K. And that I can expect from Heather, but from Meredith, unless I missed something or I forgot something from last season, I'm not sure why she wouldn't. I mean, there's a ton of reasons why I wouldn't, but I don't get why Meredith wouldn't invite Angie K to the event. Angie K's like, no, I'm not invited, and I'm so confused because if this is supposed to be a healing experiment, why not heal with me too? Because I want to have good relationships, and I feel like her and Heather are trying to ice me out. So then Whitney was just like, oh, well, do you think that you should be my +1? You're going to be my +1 on this trip. And I mean, I get it that she has to go for the show, but I'm not going to be anybody's +1 if you don't want me there. First of all, it'll be a mistake to not have me at your event. Let's start there. But the fact that you're going to try to sneak over there to Palm Springs, and that's going to be a mess next episode. But yeah, I guess as of now, she's going as her +1. Heather and Monica are shopping around for their trip. And then I started thinking back to what Monica said earlier about trying to impress this group by buying the Louis Vuitton bag when clearly she doesn't have the money like that, right? That's what she said. I started thinking, okay, so is that going to affect her role on this show in one way or another down the line? Because for the most part, it seems that everybody on the show has money. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have money, but obviously not on the same level. So if they want to do something luxurious or, something fancy like, oh, let's go on a shopping spree or whatever, what is she going to do? Is she just going to be sitting in the back like, oh, I'll buy a keychain or something? Like, how does that work exactly? But they're shopping around. Heather wants to know more about her backstory. She starts telling her that she knows Jen. That right there, I would have been like, oh, you know what? I don't want to shop today. I'm actually sick. I'm leaving. She goes on to say that she knows Lisa Barlow. She knows Angie K through Jen. Heather's like, I'm not too fond of Angie K. I just feel like she's a little bit too catty, which I don't know where she gets that from, because from what I've seen of her, she's not catty. She's just there. But she also has an issue with what she insinuating that she was sleeping around with Jen last season, and that's how she ended up with that black eye. What am I saying? Like, as I'm speaking that out there, I'm like, my God, is this what the Real Housewives is? Just a mess. So then they start talking about her upbringing in the Mormon church, and she's like, yeah, I used to be a Mormon, but I got excommunicated. Now, is everybody ready? Now put your seatbelt on, because then Heather's like, you used to be a Mormon and you got excommunicated? What happened? Monica, she says, well, I was fucking my brother-in-law. Monica, you were doing what? Like, we're only on 2 episodes this season, and we already know that she was an informant for Jen last episode, and now she says that she was fucking her brother's sister's husband. Like, that is terrible. That is trashy. That is disgusting and horrible, and I need Bravo to give you a contract for the next 2-3 seasons. Because I want to know more. Like, that is crazy. That is so scandalous and kind of iconic, but kind of scandalous. I mean, Bravo, come over here. If you're watching, I need you to find this lady, the husband's sister. I need you to get her on the next season as a friend of, or bring her to the reunion and tell her side of the story. I am very curious about that. Like, that is crazy. Heather, she's looking at her like... I cannot believe that. And it went on for 18 months, I believe. But here's the plot twist, though, because even though she was excommunicated from the Mormon church, he wasn't. He remained in the church, and there was no punishment for him for doing the same exact thing. So it just goes to show you that the Mormon church is also sexist, and they also just want to punish the woman and not the man for doing the same exact thing. And then Heather asked the right question. She was just like, wait, so how did you get caught? And then she says that she didn't. She actually confessed. Monica, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know you don't confess to that. You take it to the grave and be quiet. Like, what is wrong with you? But her guilt was killing her. She went to the priest or something like that, and she confessed. And eventually it all came out, and that was that. But even after she came out with it, she still felt guilty about the whole situation. But you didn't feel guilty when you were fucking sucking and riding somebody else's man out, were you, Monica? So then Heather asked her, so did you give back the undergarments, to the church? And this was news to me that if you're a part of the church, the Mormon church, you have to wear these things called undergarments underneath your clothes. And it kind of looks like a diaper. And for the men, it looks like these long pajamas with a shirt. And you wear that underneath your clothes instead of boxers or panties. And, as I was looking at the picture on the screen, I just kept thinking, like, imagine trying to seduce somebody with this on the phone. Like, yeah, baby, tell me what color undergarments you got on right now. Like, it's so not sexy. So she has to give that back. And I'm also thinking that that's not sanitary. I mean, imagine, she was wearing that for a good period of time. So to give it back, I would just burn it. But she said after she gave it back, she went to Victoria's Secret and bought a bunch of thongs. Okay, good for her. But, I would have pushed it a step further. I would have gotten a bunch of piercings, a bunch of neck tattoos, one that said bad girl across my chest. I would have gotten my nipples pierced and just walked in front of the church like, yep, I used to be a Mormon. And then Heather reveals to us that when this happened to her, she gave back her undergarments and then she had no panties left. So instead of going to the store, what did she do? She put on her daughter's panties instead. Okay, Heather, thank you for that information. So back to Monica. Monica, that's a little bit more of her backstory and what happened with her marriage and her divorce. And now that explains it. And, at this point, we kind of just got to buckle up for episode 3 because she already dropped 2 bombs on us back to back. So who knows what she's going to say next week. We get a glimpse of everyone getting ready for the trip. Then we see Mary at her house with her son. She decides to call the Trixie Hotel in advance to see if they have Dom Perignon waiting for her. So she's on the phone with them. The other person on the line is like, no, we don't have that. And Mary is in complete shock. She's like, what? And then she hangs up right away. So eventually they all get going. They're at the airport, except Whitney, because she is still continuing her streak of messiness on the show. And she wants to surprise everybody with Angie K. Nobody knows that she's bringing her along. So she decided to take her earlier flight together. And now they're at the hotel waiting for everybody else. And what's going to happen? An explosion. But they're at the airport. Eventually, they land in California. Not until Lisa. We see the footage of Heather in the bathroom. She's in the stall. I'm like, Heather, what are you doing? Sitting on the toilet just recording. It took me a minute to realize what exactly she's doing, but in the background, we hear Lisa going crazy. We hear Lisa's just like, oh my God, where's my ring? Where's my ring? I'm looking for my ring. I'm baby gorgeous. Have you seen my ring? Where's my ring? It's $60,000 and John gave it to me. It's so fundamental right now. It's very sentimental. I need my ring right now. Where is it? Hold on, let me see. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for my ring. And she's just freaking out over this ring. And we see a picture of it. And it does look like an expensive ring, I guess. According to her, it's $60,000. According to Mary, no, it's not. So they're all freaking out. And could you imagine if you watch this show and you're in the airport bathroom and all of a sudden you see Lisa Barlow in the same bathroom as you going crazy about this ring? Like, I would have been like, excuse me, ma'am, I need to take a shit. Can you just move out the way? So she never found the ring. And I saw on Twitter that some people were speculating that this was all a scheme. Not that Todd came up with, but this is kind of like an insurance scheme or something like that. And she's pretending that she lost the ring. I'm not sure. Allegedly. I just saw that online. I don't know if that's true or not. But according to her Twitter, she still hasn't found her ring. So, somebody got lucky in California. And they're probably rich right now. So eventually that was that. She reported that missing. They get on the Sprinter van. That right there, I started shaking. My nerves got bad because, Salt Lake City housewife with a Sprinter van, it never goes well. But luckily, everything went well. They're inside there, and Mary's sitting right next to Lisa. And she's just like, you're still complaining about this ring? Like, you need to let it go. She does not like Lisa still. And then meanwhile, at the Trixie Hotel, we see Whitney and Angie K. They pop up. Trixie's also there. Trixie looks really good. She introduces them around to the whole place. The whole place looks so, so pretty. It looks so beautiful, right? It's so colorful and so pinkish. And Whitney's like, oh my God, it looks like a Barbie dream house. It looks similar to my house. It looks so cute. I want to play with my Barbie dolls right now, actually. Angie K, let's go play with my Barbie dolls. So she's showing them around and everything. And again, the whole place looks nice. They're waiting in the pool for everybody else to arrive. I think back in the Sprinter Van, Monica, she's offering Lisa some chips, and Lisa, she's reaching over, and Mary's in the middle. Mary's like, can you please not get Cheeto dust all over me? Like, please, like, keep your chips away from me. Again, she just does not see it for Lisa. And I'm very curious to see everybody's reaction once, if they don't know already, once Monica tells them that she was sleeping around with her brother-in-law. That's going to be interesting to see. But eventually, that's that. They're all trying to figure out where is Whitney. Meredith is updating them like, well, to be honest with you, I don't know where she is. I mean, the last thing that she did was text me, but she never replied to my message. So I don't know. Eventually, they're all getting to the hotel. They're all excited like, oh, it looks so pretty. It looks so pretty. We hear Lisa in the background saying, oh my God, it's so pink. It's so cute. It's so adorable. So they're walking up to the house, and then we see on the other side, it's so dramatic, right? We see Angie K and Whitney. They're like, oh, I think they're here. And I'm like, what kind of Bad Girls Club thing is this? You know, if you watch the Bad Girls Club, you could definitely tell that this is a scene from that show. So they're walking up to the door. They're like, oh, we need to put the passcode in. And eventually the door's about to open. And then we're left with a to be continued, basically. Even if I wasn't expecting Angie K, like, what is she going to do? If anything, it'd be a whole different game if it was Jen Shah. You know, for some reason, they released her from prison years early. And she managed to get to California to this hotel. And now we're being surprised by her. Then I'll be shocked. That'll be something. But, you know, it's Angie K. If I'm Heather, I'm walking in, I'm going to greet Whitney like, hey, cousin, hey, cousin. Hey, Trixie, yeah, I love your place. It looks so pretty. Angie K. Skirt. Anyway, let's go to the pool and get mimosa. Let's go, girls. Like Angie K. who? But let me know what you all thought about this whole entire episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.